Welcome to Project You. This podcast explores how integrating changes into your day can produce the best in health, longevity, and performance. We've recruited experts from around the globe who unleash their wisdom to transform your world. Project You dives into how to live a fully optimized life and uncovers tools and techniques to unleash your maximum potential. You only get one shot at this life, so let's get started.
Welcome to episode 38 of the Project You podcast. What I want to cover today is why your diet is not working. If you're listening to this as I release it for the first time, it is holiday season 2015, and I'm going to share with you about 7 points that you really need to understand about why your diet's not working. It doesn't have to do necessarily with motivation or willpower. It has to do with some innate factors that you really need to know about. I talk to patients all the time, clients, coaching students, who are really frustrated that they can't lose weight despite working out twice a day and subsisting on a very low calorie diet. So let's jump into today's episode, and I'll be sharing some things at the end that you won't want to miss out on. The first thing is food and allergy problems or sensitivity, and this is partly due to gluten, but it's partly due to other food products. And many of us are allergic to certain food types, whether we understand it or not. Think about perhaps you ate a hot pepper, and not only did it burn your mouth, but maybe it caused your nose to be congested or caused you to cough or wheeze or some other sign that maybe your body was releasing an allergic substance like histamine, similar to like a bee sting, and this is the sign of why you potentially shouldn't eat that food. It's much more sophisticated than that, where we can actually drill down into the issues with some testing, whether that's skin testing or blood testing. We can really figure it out. But understand that food allergies and food sensitivity can cause a whole host of problems, including leaky gut. I talked to you in past episodes about leaky gut, where the barrier between the lining of the intestinal tract and the body is just literally one cell thin. And so when the gut's inflamed and things kind of separate out, food products can penetrate through and are actually presented to the body as a foreign invader, which ramps up inflammation. This really hampers our body's ability to digest properly and hampers your ability to lose weight, because the stress hormones are dumped out in response to this, and that's just telling the body that it's stressed out. It really needs to kind of store energy and prepare for a fight, and it's very detrimental for weight loss. The other thing is with gluten. A huge number of people are gluten sensitive, and it presents not only as GI problems, but a variety of things like headaches and muscle weakness, numbness and tingling, things that we typically associate with diabetes or neuropathy, can also be due to gluten, as the body is intolerant to it, or maybe less a severe term would be sensitivity, but it can cause a whole host of neurologic problems. It can even act like multiple sclerosis. If you know anybody who has MS, it has a potential to become a severely devastating disease. The other issue to bring to light is gluten substitutes. There are a whole host of gluten-free foods out there, but if you think about gluten in its strictest sense in terms of gluten-free diet, it's not eating pasta and bread. It's actually focusing on plant-based sources of nutrition, which is difficult for many people. But the problem with fake gluten or gluten substances is they can cause a number of side effects that are very similar to gluten, including the neurologic side effects. So just take that to heart. If you're trying to replace your Doritos and your Triscuits with gluten-free crackers, you may not get the desired results that you want. The next point I want to bring up is stress. Obviously, the holidays are stressful times, and many of us are stressed maximally throughout the year based on family obligations, work issues, commuting, chronic illness. A variety of factors contribute to stress. And stress, whether it's physical or mental or due to injury, really causes the stress hormones to be dumped out into the bloodstream. And this tells our body that we need to store energy, store fat, and it's really detrimental without having a proper way to really deal with stress, whether this is mindfulness or meditation or exercise. It really hampers our ability to maintain or lose weight. So I really encourage you, not only just during the holiday times, but really just to take a few moments at the beginning and the end of each day to bookmark or bookend your day with a simple stress relief technique, whether this is going for a walk, playing with your dog, unplugging from TV and phone and just sitting quietly, meditating, doing some yoga. Just really reward yourself and value your health. Just taking a few moments to prize your health and put your health first. It's really critical in terms not only of longevity and optimal performance, but also for the purpose of this podcast, for diet and potential for weight loss. The third point is sleep deprivation. Sleep is a restorative and regenerative phase of life. Our bodies require sleep, and it's difficult for any of us, myself included, during the holiday season, to get the proper amount of sleep on a consistent basis. We've got holiday parties, kid concerts, cocktail parties, work functions, end of the year wrap-ups, all the stuff that goes along with December, making it a fun but a very busy and very stressful month. And shortchanging yourself on sleep does nothing but really sabotage your efforts at weight loss. A whole host of enzymatic and hormonal processes occur while we sleep, including some fluctuation in some of the main hormones that you're familiar with, like estrogen and testosterone, particularly for men who are sleep deprived, tend to have lower levels of testosterone. So skipping out on sleep is really not a strategy to get more things done. Our bodies need sleep, and it's really critical. I talk more about this in the sleep course, where we dive into all these issues and tackle the specifics regarding the 7 Ps of better sleep. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to head over to the blog at Mitchell MD and check out that course. It's on a new platform right now, which is running beautifully, and we have about 12 to 1,500 students in that course. I haven't really kept track for the last few weeks, but last count was about 1,300 students. So don't skip out on sleep, and there are some specific strategies that we'll talk about in more detail. Hormone dysregulation, this is a huge factor. Part of it relates to sleep deprivation, but part of it relates to poor dietary choices and endocrine disruptors. There's a variety of things we put into our bodies and we put on our bodies in the terms of cosmetics that really have the potential to mess up our hormones. And that has a huge bearing in terms of the ability to get the body type or the body shape that we want. There are certain things, for example, cosmetics, that disrupt estrogen and other female hormones. If you want to go and learn more about this, I encourage you to check out the Environmental Working Group's website, where you can look at the variety of ingredients in cosmetics and see their detrimental effects. So I encourage you really just to look at your cosmetic and cross-check it with this website. I was just talking with a coaching client today who was very excited about some new cosmetics she bought at the mall, and she showed them to me, and I won't name the name of the store, but they were just packed full of chemicals and some of the major endocrine disruptors. And even though they looked fancy in a nice little package and they smelled great, the end result was really a negative effect on health. Not the desire that she wanted, not what she wanted to hear from me after just buying these, but in essence, a lot of the things we put on our skin, you have to think of your skin as really a digestive organ in some aspects. Our skin absorbs a lot of things. The cosmetics we put on it, the water we bathe in, the chlorinated pool we soak in, it all has the potential to be absorbed through the skin, which has an effect on our health overall. The next is genetics, and this is a huge bearing on why a diet will or won't work for you. For example, one of the concepts I've shared in a previous podcast, and I'll be sharing again coming up in a few days, is the best holiday strategies to maintain or lose weight. And one of those is cold-induced thermogenesis. And so I live in a northern climate where I can go outside any day of this time of year, which is December, and I'll be cold. It's just a guarantee. And what happens is the body's response is to try to generate more heat through thermogenesis, which includes shivering. And so it's a simple biohack to lose energy for some people. But for a subsegment of people who have a genetic modification, it doesn't work, and it will never work. And the same concept applies to different dietary strategies. I hear this all the time. People want to know, what's the best diet for me? Should it be low-fat, high-fat, ketogenic, South Beat diet, Atkins diet? I mean, the diets out there are endless. And the key differentiator is there are certain genetic modifications that people have that really, for example, make a ketogenic diet not only not work, but potentially dangerous. And so just knowing this really helps you fine-tune a strategy for optimal weight management or weight loss. I'll be sharing with you on one of the free webinars how to go about getting this testing done. And there's a simple service. It's nothing that I'm affiliated with or have any financial ties to, that currently it's $19.95. And they will plug in your genetic data and tell you which potential diet is the best for you based on your genetic makeup. So I know it's frustrating and it seems complicated or confusing, but the reality of it is that there is so much genetic variability that what works for one person will not and will never work for another person. And so just because your best friend is on the Atkins diet or the South Beach diet and has lost 20 pounds and is looking amazing doesn't necessarily mean that if you follow that same diet and exercise plan that you'll get the same results. It's not what you wanted to hear, but it's a fact. So I want to help you get the most from your efforts and your time. The last 2 points are really closely interrelated. And it's not about calories in and out, and it's not about exercising more. It's all the factors that I talked to you about, the 5 or 6 bullet points prior to this, that really have an impact on your ability to make your diet work. And so I've seen plenty of patients and coaching clients who are on severely calorically restricted diets and are exercising twice a day and aren't losing weight. And one of the issues is inflammation and stress. Exercise, particularly hard exercise, is stressful and can generate stress hormones and can be detrimental in terms of weight loss. The other issue is more is not always better. And this is in a upcoming podcast where I'll talk about the threshold between time of exercise, intensity of exercise, and diminishing returns. And it's been clearly established in some recent sports medicine literature about how long a person could exercise or should exercise and at what level before they experience diminishing returns. So I have patients and coaching students that are working out for an hour and a half or 2 hours at a time and are gaining weight, and they're not gaining muscle mass, they're gaining fat. And so this issue becomes more critical as we age. I've shared in the past about skinny fat, which is just a huge issue in terms of longevity and mortality and risk of death. And so we'll jump into that more in a later episode. So anyways, I want to wrap up episode 38 here. And I apologize, the audio is a little bit choppy here. I'm recording this in a hotel. I'm at the World Anti-Aging Congress. And I just wanted to get this out and share it as we're jumping to the holiday season and the hustle and bustle of the wonderful times ahead. But if you've liked this content, I'd really appreciate a review. Be very grateful for that on iTunes. And I'm going to be covering in some of the upcoming podcast episodes and free webinars about a few things, and I want to share those with you here. So the first is why shifting carbs to this time of day can really boost your chances of weight loss. I'll be sharing the science behind that and how it works. The next thing is I'm going to share about what's in your prescription drug that is literally killing you and a strategy to really deal with this. This is something you won't want to miss if you're on any prescription drugs at all, because there's a specific component that's in the vast majority of prescription drugs that is toxic to your body, and literally nobody knows about it other than the pharmacists who are willing to share this information. And then the last, which is coming up in tomorrow's podcast, is what nighttime snack can help you sleep better. I'm not advocating eating a bunch of food before bed, but if you're going to snack at night, there is something that you can eat that will improve your chances of getting a better restful night of sleep. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, be safe, be well. I will talk to you tomorrow.